Hello, my name is David Webb, and this is a video for Dweebovision. I am a Scrabble grandmaster, and in this video I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully this will help to improve your game, and be fun to watch. The game has just started, so let's join the action. It's my opponent's go first, and he's got off to a great start with a bingo. What do I have? Well, I have the out prefix with GERT. So I'm looking at the floaters in Ironia to see if I have a bingo through any of those. And nothing is springing to mind. So it's a priority to play off the U, and probably the G and one of the T's. So I could play Grouter in row L. £16 points. Can I do better than that? I'm looking in row K to see if I have a 4-timer. Can't see anything there. I think I'll play Grout down here. The E is quite a bingo-y tile, so I'd like to hold on to it. 14 points. I have 2 duplicate tiles and the W, so I don't think I have a bingo with this rack. So I'm looking to play off the W, an I, and an E. And if I played off just those 3 tiles, I would have a rack leave of EIRT, which would be pretty good. Now I could play Rewrite in row L, but that stops 1 square short of column 15, so that's not so good. So, can I play off WIE? I am behind, so it would be quite nice to leave the floaters at the bottom of Ironia available. So I could play Twire across here. This would provide additional floaters. And the rack leave, although it's slightly vowel heavy, is okay. 16 points. Great, I have Tarried and Tardia. Do either of those play? My opponent challenges and loses 5 points. Now, the floaters at the bottom of Ironia duplicate tiles on my rack, and so do 2 out of the 3 floaters in Twire, which is unfortunate, as that obstructs my likelihood of having a bingo. I can't see anywhere at the moment for Tarried or Tardia. I'd just seen Tawdria through the W, but that's been blocked. So, do I have something through these duplicate floaters? It'll certainly be a high probability word, but sometimes with duplicate tiles, it's hard to spot. I can't see anything through the C of Sal. Can't see anything through the N of Ironia. What about the R? Nope, can't see anything through that. What about the E? No, and finally the R, well that's a triplicate R, can't see anything there. I'm now looking at the TO pair in row H to see if I've got a 9-letter word. No, well, that's disappointing. I thought this looked like a good opportunity to bingo. So I certainly want to play off an R. I'm looking at try down here. Rackley's pretty good. Score 13 points is not huge, but I'm keeping the floaters available, and that's important. I'm just wondering if I should play in column K a double-double. But I think I'd rather play for the bingo. I draw the Q, which isn't good, but I do have some good tiles for going with it. I've got Chi, Cadai, Cade, and onto an F I would have Wakf. There isn't an F available, so I will probably end up playing the Q this go and the W next go. I can play Chi at F2 for over 30 points, which is good, and I've got Cade in row J through the second eye of Ironia, so I should be able to score over 30 points with this rack. And one W has been played, so I'm not going to be looking at a duplicate W if I retain a W. And I will be retaining vowels, so I ought to be able to score next go, even if I can't bingo. Now, have I overlooked any good spots for my Q? Well, I've got cat in column 3, but that's not better than the moves I've already considered. My opponent's got 17 minutes left and I've got 15. So neither of us in time trouble. And my opponent's got a 37-point lead, and he's on turn, so I am about a bingo behind. But since we're still in the early to middle stage of the game, that's not fatal. What I do need to do is keep the board open, so that when I do have a bingo, I'm maximising my chances of being able to play it. Well, my opponent's taking a while, so he may be close to a bingo. None of the S's have been played yet. So column 10 is available for a bingo beginning with an S to make oils. Now, if I have a choice between playing Chi and Cade, I'm inclined towards playing Cade, because I don't think the D and the W go together that well. 33 points for Chi, 34 points for Cade, so not very much between them. Cade does obstruct 2 of the floaters in Ironia and also obstruct column 10, so maybe Chi would be better in terms of keeping the board open. Great, that is a phony. And look at that, my opponent's got both blanks. So, given that I know that my opponent's got a great rack, I think I will play the slightly more obstructive play, 34 points, because this does bring me close to level. Now, Well, I was momentarily thinking of Boweria, but I'm pretty sure that's not good. But I would like to resolve this consonant vowel imbalance, and the W and the B don't go that well together. Bowie is good, B-O-W-I-E, that would certainly sort this rack out. Is there anywhere that plays? I do have an I for going underneath the Q. But I can't see a good way of using that. Well, there goes one of the blanks. So, I am about 40 points behind, and I know my opponent's got the other blank. I'm wondering if I can use the Zo hook, and I can. I think I'm going to struggle to get rid of the W and the B, but the B isn't a terrible tile. And I can play Wero across here. Keeps a slight imbalance, but scores 25 points and provides a floater in the E. This doesn't feel like a great play. Wow, lots of vowels, and I'm 14 points behind. Well, I'm 9 points behind my opponent challenged Wero. And he's still got a blank, and he's just played off an X for 28, so he's in good shape. What is good, he's provided extra floaters, but he may be able to take advantage of them before I can. Now, one play I can do with this rack is Uoi, E-U-O-I. That certainly plays up here. I'm obstructing the floaters, but I know my opponent's got a blank, and my priority is to sort out my own rack. And there are still floaters on this board, so I'm not scuppering my chances. So is there somewhere better for Uoi? No, I don't think so. I'm just wondering if I've got a play beginning with the C of cell going over the top of the X, which would score a lot more. Ah, well, I do, but it keeps the U. So Uoi for 17. I can play Cyber. For 37 points. I think the score difference justifies it. I am keeping 3 vowels, which is pretty horrendous. But maybe I'll get a little bit of luck. Well, that's not too terrible. I do have the H for score. I may not be able to play off both U's, but hopefully I can play off one of them and one of the O's. So I'm looking to play off H-O-U somewhere. So I could play Hout in column 3. I could play Houted. Actually, this might score a reasonable amount. £24 points. Rack leaves pretty awful, but there's only 1 U and 2 O's unseen, so hopefully this won't be a disastrous pickup. I'm just looking around in case I'm missing something much better. Don't think I am. And I'm only 30 points behind. And I draw some scoring tiles in the B and the K. I don't have a bingo. I'm 5 points behind. Great. My K can go at H1. Well, I've got a lot of choices here. I could play Bauk. Let me see what this scores. Rackley's going to be good. I'm getting rid of the U. and both of the high scoring tiles. 44 points, that's good. If I placed my K in front of the I don't think I could get rid of the B and the U. So I think this maximises my rack leave as well as scoring well. Hydrate. Is there anywhere to play it? Another 5 points. Fantastic. Can't see anywhere for Hydrate straight away. Cyber only takes an S after it, so I can't play Hydrated in column 14, which would have been nice. Thready, I think, is good. But I don't think there's anywhere on this board at the moment available for a 7-letter bingo with the tiles that I've got. I think column 10 works for, and column 15 for bingos with an S in them. And then look at that, there are 4 S's and a blank unplayed, and I know my opponent's got a blank. So although I've got a slight lead, that could easily evaporate. What I can do is play off the H and the Y. I could play something like Hey at A2 down. That would leave a really good rack leave. But I might want to open the board up a bit. 40 points for my opponent. He's now 21 points in the lead. And I'm just making sure I don't have a bingo. Although there's no 7-letter lanes available for me, there's rows I and L for bingos beginning with N or R. And I can't see anything through those. I'm just looking in row M to see if I've got anything which goes after ZO. Oh, yes, look at this. This is going to score a lot. And it's going to open a bingo lane. Fantastic. Heady, 56 points, a massive score at a critical time in the game. And I'm rewarded with a fabulous pickup. So, do I have a playable bingo? I've got relates as a 7. I've got relators in row L. What else do I have? I have elators in row N. Both stay available. So, do I have anything in row A ending with the A of Alfs? Don't think so. Relators. Well, this is an interesting position, because relators opens column 15 for an easy score for my opponent, and elators in row N opens row O. So do I have a play in column 10 pluralizing Cade? Realist, relates, elators. Is that it? Elators, realist, relates, stealer. Is there one other? Quite often when you remember 4 out of 5, it's the 5th one which plays. Now I think I am going to play a relators, and it's because it provides 2 openings. It opens up column 15, but if my opponent utilises column 15, he's leaving all these good floaters. So 68 points. Realtors. Actually, realtors would be good and may draw a challenge. Well, is there another anagram of realtors and relators which doesn't place the S in last place? I don't think so. But is there a better place? This is quite a critical moment. Now, I have D Salter in column 14. Very tricky to know what's best here. I've got 7 minutes left, 14 tiles left, so after this play there will be just 7 tiles in the bag. There could well be a really good bingo that I'm overlooking, and there are a couple of pairs of tiles. There's TO in row H and there's AN in column 13, which could be part of a 9-letter play. Well, I'm going to go with this. Not a good pickup. Only one vowel. So and another 5 points, great. Well, I'm glad I changed relators to realtors. That may have contributed to that challenge. Ooh. Good bingo by my opponent. 116 points. That's a massive score for him. He's now 28 points ahead. And there are no tiles left. So, can I go out in 2? And I note that MM is good, so I can place my M here. So I could play Fems. $47 points. But the trouble with this is I don't think I can go out with CNP. I'm just looking around in case there is somewhere where those tiles go out. And if there isn't, this probably means this isn't a winning play. So I've got 5 minutes left. Can I do better? And it might be worth hanging on to the S to put after Cade. So if I had Scamp down here, 36 points. What I could do is play Fen down here and hope that my opponent doesn't block Scamp. So, Fen scores 32, which is good. I'm keeping Scamp. But do I have a second out? And will my opponent be drawn to the triple word square at 015 and leave Scamp alone? I don't think he can use the Cade's hook himself. Now, is there something better or along similar lines? This is quite nice as a 2-move play, but it's very vulnerable to Scamp being blocked. I'm pretty sure there's nowhere else on this board I can go out. I've got 3.5 minutes left. My opponent's got 12 minutes. Now, what does Fen do? 32 points. It's a good score in its own right. So this will take me to 363, a 4-point lead. Now, it could well be that there is a better 2-move sequence. So what might that be? So I've got 2.5 minutes left, or just under 3 minutes left. I can't see anywhere better to play Fen. Now, gosh, this is just so hard. The G is no use to me at the bottom of majoring. I think I am going to go with Fen and hope that Scamp isn't blocked. Hopefully my opponent will see my tiles and think that they're rubbish. Now, if he does block Scamp, what am I going to do? He doesn't block it. Fantastic. I don't know if this is going to be enough. I will have time to check, though. So, Scamp 36, that's going to take me to 399. It's enough. Fantastic. Just waiting for my opponent to formally end the game. Which he does. And the final score, 395 to my opponent, 413 to me, a winning margin of 18 points. So a very close game and a very narrow victory. Let's see what I missed. So it was my opponent to go first. He got off to a cracking start with Ironia. Great, I didn't miss a bingo. And, well, all of those scores are pretty low. Not a nice rack for my opponent. Wiria for 18. Yeah, that's where I played Twire. And Twire kept EIR, so I think Wiria would have been slightly better. Interesting rack for my opponent. Let's just see what he had. No bingos. This is where I had tarried and agonizingly couldn't see a way of playing it. And there was no bingo. Tireder for 32. That's a double-double, which I didn't play. I opted to play try and keep a good rack leave. Actually, that would be interesting. Is that 19-point sacrifice justified? It'll be close. Now, what did my opponent have? Yep, he had 10 dens. And unitized, not easy to see. Cade, that was my play. Just see what he had here. Nope, no bingos. Great, so I blocked his bingos. Now, Cowier for 22. This is where I played Wero for 25. Probably Cowier, possibly slightly better because of the rack leave, but I know my opponent has got a blank, so perhaps Wero is better. I don't think there's terribly much between those. Not a good rack here, but Cyber was able to score well, and it did keep 3 vowels, so I was in the hands of the Scrabble gods. What did my opponent have? Yep, he had a few bingos. And it wasn't a disaster, and Houted was my play. Again, I'll just check for my opponent. Wow, Topiarian. Didn't know that, and Riparian, very tricky to see. Now, I could have scored more than Bauk, but I would either have kept the U or the B. Playing Bauk for just 3 fewer points maximised the rack leave. Gosh, more missed bingos, but difficult to spot bingos for my opponent. Heady, I was really grateful to see this. It took me a while to see Heady, but the score is massive. I didn't think this board had good scoring spots for my rack, but it did. Dianoia's D14. Yep, that could have been played. Now, this is where I think I played a suboptimal bingo. Let's see what was available. Tolerates H7. Oh wow, that would definitely have been the play. Tolerates. I'm just wondering if I know that word. I have started to learn the nines, and I think if I have learnt it, it's got a single anagram. But, yeah, an additional anagram, but I'm not sure. Maybe I'm confusing it with something else. Reslate. Ooh, there was a play in column 10, but it wasn't the play I was looking for because it would have opened up a row O. So actually, Tolerates was the play and Relators was as good as anything else, or Realtors was. Great bingo by my opponent, majoring 116 points, put him in a strong position. And I think he probably was in a winning position here. He had a 28-point lead. And I think he just had to stop me going out in 2. Now, Fems for 47 I don't think is a winning play because I don't have outs with CMP. I played Fen first and kept Scamp. Now let's see what my opponent could have done. Well, it's showing Yogi, but I think probably blocking Scamp would have enabled him to win because he's only 4 points behind at this stage. So if he blocks Scamp, he's got 2 moves. He could play Yogi next go. He could just play anything which blocks Scamp, and I think he would win. But fortunately he didn't. Oh, I was going to say there were 2 outs, but in fact they were both using the A of Realtors, so there really was only 1 out, which fortunately remained available. So an exciting game. I did win as a result of opponents' errors, but that is often the case, so you shouldn't discount victories which are won due to opponents' errors. Scrabble is almost impossible for human beings to play perfectly, so errors will abound on both sides throughout a game. So one should still rejoice in all one's victories, no matter how gained. So I hope you enjoyed watching that video and got something out of it. My name is David Webb, and this has been a video for Dweebovision.